What is going on? Welcome to The Case for Liberty. This video is going to be a little bit about economics. It's something that I've been reading recently, and like I said, I want to share my thoughts with you as I'm learning them because I think it's really fascinating. So all this comes from the not so subtly titled 13 Reasons Why Not to Be a Liberal. I know, it's kind of an off-putting title, but it's by Judd, and it provides a lot of factual evidence for why things work the way they do, and I find that fascinating. I love it when there's less opinion, more fact, especially when it comes from facts from history, trends, how things work. I think that's really cool. So basically what I want to talk about today is the benefits of free markets and why they work, all right? And if I remember, when I edit the video, that'll be the title. But main thing here is I want to talk about 10 reasons. First off, I'm going to start with this 10 reasons why the free market work. And again, just going to read a little bit here for you guys because I always want to make sure that I'm not misspeaking. But as far as it goes, you know, a lot of people will argue that free markets don't work or that capitalism and in essence, therefore, greed tend to rule the day. For me, you know, being a small business owner, I don't think that's necessarily true. Just based on my experience, before we get to the facts, just based on my experience, I don't think it's really true that all business owners or capitalists, big or small, operate just based on greed. Now, caveat, are there some that do? Yes. Case in point, you have companies like Apple that ship a lot of their work overseas. There's stories of literally casting nets over where the people are making iPhones so that they don't jump out the building and commit suicide, things like that. However, for the most part, domestic work in the U.S. does not tend to follow that route. I mean, you cannot pay a good, hardworking American, $5 an hour or a dollar an hour like they do overseas and expect them to work. So that aside, what I want to do is provide 10 reasons why the free market works. I'm just gonna read from this because I think it's really good. So here we go. The free market capitalism has been the most powerful non-religious force for good in the history of the world. Free market capitalism has lifted billions of people worldwide out of poverty in the past 2 generations alone. It has brought consumers an embarrassment of riches in product variety. That's a good way of putting it. It rewards talented people for talents that dictators or central planners would never even thought to exploit. Jeffrey Dorfman of Forbes perfectly encapsulates the wonders of free market thinking in his brilliant article, 10 Free Market Economic Reasons to be Thankful. Here we go. So number 1, this is, again, all under free market capitalistic workings, which is what we have kind of strayed away from. Even today, we don't have as much free market as we should, which is a whole nother conversation. But here we go. All right, reason number 1, median income is really rising. Claims of stagnant middle-class wages rely on flawed data rather than official government stats. Another problem is the misuse of government statistics. As the Manhattan Institute's Scott Winship has repeatedly shown, properly measured income have risen rather steadily with labor productivity, as would be expected. Using data from the Current Population Survey and the Congressional Budget Office, Winship shows that from 1967 to 2009, so that's about a 40-year gap, the median household income rose by more than $20,000. Median income growth was slowly positive during the Obama years and grew rapidly in Trump's first term, pre-pandemic, so pre-COVID. When more updated data are released, the cumulative gain since 1967 will be closer to $22,000 for the median household. These rising wages are thanks to a free labor market where employers have to compete for workers by offering competitive wages. 2. Free trade saves us trillions of dollars. From 2015 to the present, free trade has generally been a losing issue politically. The economic reality is that allowing the free market to extend past national boundaries allows people in both trading partners to increase the benefits of free markets. By exploiting more differences in comparative advantage and the difference in tastes, preferences, resources, and talents worldwide, American consumers save hundreds of billions of dollars per year on the goods we purchase. In addition, we Americans gain variety in our purchases, such as the ability to buy fresh fruit in the winter, right? Some workers may temporarily lose jobs and see wages rise more slowly thanks to the increased competition trade brings, but on average, we save much more in lower prices than we lose in lower wages. So again, because of free markets, we have greater quality at better prices. It's great. Number 3, free markets know what we want. Free markets miraculously supply almost all of our wants without an obvious mechanism that lets them know what to make and where to deliver it. Through the wonders of the infamous invisible hand of free markets, we vote with our dollars every day about how we spend our money. The market continually adjusts to meet those needs as efficiently and inexpensively as possible. The average supermarket, for example, contains 50,000 different items for sale. It also has an inventory control system and supply chains that are responsible to consumer demand. On any given day, 99.8% or more of those items are waiting on the shelves for you to buy them. It's awesome. So it's through free markets, we're able to meet demand almost effortlessly, which is pretty great. Innovators are rewarded and consumers benefit. That's reason number 4. Economic rewards to innovators encourage businesses to invent things consumers don't even know they need. Nobody needed the iPhone, Velcro, Post-it notes, blind spot warning systems, or fitness trackers until somebody invented them. I think it's fascinating. The rewards to those who correctly guess the mood of enough consumers are sufficient to make many of them rich. This encourages innovation and enriches consumers by much more than any financial rewards to the innovators themselves. So that's great, because in a free market society, you can encourage people to innovate and invent new things that we don't even know we need yet. And I think the iPhone's a great example, which is actually what I'm recording this video on. It's great. So that's huge. That's really huge. You don't get that in collectivistic societies. You don't have that same, I think, reward for innovation. Even in my business, which I owned a gym, the innovation there was community and engagement and giving people who really haven't exercised ever before the ability to fall in love with it for the first time, which is awesome. So I think that's huge. Number 5. Failed businesses are punished, economic growth accelerates. This is awesome, and I'm going to make a little comment about this in a second, but here we go. Economic judgments also put out of business those making things consumers don't want. So if you don't make what people want, no one's going to buy from you. When a business disappears, it frees up resources to be redeployed to the production of things society values more highly. This is exactly what the government frequently gets wrong when it bails out failing businesses under the mistaken pretext of protecting jobs. Bailing out failing companies traps resources and capital in a low-growth sector that could have been better used in higher-growth areas of the economy. Stopping businesses failing slows down economic growth. Let them die, watch new businesses rise from the ashes. Now, this is huge because I think this is where we don't really have a truly free market country as of late. Because I don't know when it started. I'm sure someone in the comments can tell me officially when it began. But there's been a track record of government bailing out companies, and it's very dangerous because in a truly free market society, when you own a business, your mistakes are your own. You risk it all because you own it all. That's why business owners deserve the highest reward, because they took all the risk to make it happen. If the business goes out, they are out. Whereas an employee of the business continues to get paid, whether they have a good quarter or a bad quarter in the business. That aside, I think it's a very dangerous precedent for government to fund business failing. So if a business files bankruptcy and the government bails it out, that'll encourage the company to make not so good decisions because they know that, Big Daddy government can just bail me out anytime. That's dangerous. And so I think that's really important for us as consumers to know and to advocate for, is to not allow the government to continue bailing out companies. Because here's the deal. The people who start these things, they're not stupid. Let it fail. Let them re-innovate. Let them come back to the market in a more competitive fashion. That's better for them, actually. Like, as a business owner, it's way better for me to learn from my failures than to make the same mistakes over and over again and be paid for it by the government, right? Anyways, number 6. Free markets match buyers and sellers. This is fun. Free markets automatically pair up sellers and buyers. I want something, you have it, I'm going to get it from you, and you're going to be rewarded. In a free market system, producers rarely have to know or find or even meet the sellers of their products. Retailers stand between producers and consumers. Banks stand between savers and borrowers. Stockbrokers and real estate agents serve to match up those who want to sell and buy shares of stock or pieces of property. Because some money can be made through performing these matchmaking services, a free market allows customers to find the products they want without finding the people making the products. This greatly lowers the transaction costs for both buyer and seller, making markets more efficient. And furthermore, the internet only accelerated the benefits gained in this regard, shrinking transaction costs even further, which is great. Speed up everything. Number 7, almost done. Competition keeps prices low, which is great. Competition among businesses keeps prices low. Inflation, which is the increasing price. Increasing prices is inflation, just basic definition for those who don't know. Inflation is mostly a problem in the industries with the most government involvement. Key statement there. Examples: healthcare, education. Let me repeat that one more time. Inflation is mostly a problem in the industries with the most government intervention. So just think about that. Healthcare, education, things of that nature. Industries that have the most free market competition, aka the least amount of government intervention, are reluctant to raise prices. The businesses are always looking for cost efficiencies to gain an advantage over the competitors. So think about the prices for computers, food, and clothes to realize the gains consumers capture from robust competition in a free market. So basically, if you can kind of put it on a graph, essentially, where there's the most government involvement, those prices tend to increase the most because there's the most inflation. Where there's the least government involvement, prices tend to either stay steady or really barely increase over time. And so that's the key thing to know, is that in a free market, we as consumers, more often than we realize, influence the price of things, because the old saying goes, you'll charge what the market can bear. So as a business owner, for me, for example, when I was selling my gym memberships, I had to look at what the market would bear. I can't undercharge because I'm not going to make any money. I'm not going to be able to pay my employees, but I can't overcharge because then no one's going to sign up for my gym. Same thing with other businesses. You can't undercharge because you got people to pay. You got to keep the roof over your head, things of that nature, but you can't overcharge. Like no one's going to pay $100 for a candle. You know what I mean? No one's going to pay $500 a month for a gym membership, right? So these are important things. But again, like I said earlier, where there's the most government intervention, like things like healthcare and education, it's highly regulated, it becomes really inefficient, really bogged down by red tape, so to speak. And so because of that, they have to jump through so many hoops that all those hoops cost them things. And then to recoup those costs just from government regulations, they got to charge more, right? Like for example, in healthcare, there's around, I think the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, requires 691 different basically hoops to jump through for a hospital to operate normally. Like that's insane. And it costs somewhere around $39 billion just for administration costs. If I can remember to pull up the correct figures, I'll make another video about it. But based on what I read recently, that's what it's about. It's just an example. So all to say, it's another reason for us to want to support more free markets, less government intervention. I'm not saying government is all bad. There's times and places for regulatory practices, but when it becomes too much, we, the consumer, end up paying more, and that's not good. So I think that's awesome. All right, number 8. We're almost done here. We got 2 more. Price signals work. So this kind of goes in line with what we just talked about. Price signals tell people and businesses where to allocate their skills and efforts. A nursing shortage is signaled to the labor market through employers advertising higher wages for nurses, hopefully leading more people to go into that profession. High demand for a popular product will lead businesses to bid higher to get a share of the limited supply, encouraging producers to make more. Similarly, falling prices and wages tell producers and workers what products and fields some of them should abandon. When you think about how rarely a store is out of the item you want or has a huge overstock lingering on the shelves for months on end, you realize how well price signals work in a free market. Again, we as the consumers in a free market have the advantage of being able to dictate how prices work for businesses, which is great. Number 9, plain and simple, freedom. Everything's great. Free markets let you choose what work you want to do, who to work for, where to shop, and what to buy. Without free markets, some government agency, or hopefully benevolent dictator, would have to match workers with jobs, producers with retailers, and retailers with consumers. And that would be exhausting for anyone to do, which is why in socialist communist countries it doesn't happen. Without free markets, you have no free choice. When we restrict free markets with government regulations, people lose freedom over what work to do, where and when to shop, and what to buy. Free markets, in contrast to government-controlled ones, let more than 100 million workers choose from thousands of professions, and 300 million consumers choose millions of goods and services for sale every day. And if that's not worth keeping, I don't know what is, because I would much rather have the freedom of choice than having to follow regulations given to me about what I can or can't buy and where to shop from or who to work for. All right? So it's great. All right, so last one, number 10. Free markets make things work. Now what that means is, here we go. Think about sectors of our society where things are not working well. Many government agencies, such as the DMV, healthcare, transportation systems, the K through 12 education system, for example, these are areas where we have the fewest markets and the most government intervention. If you want low prices and high quality, keep government out of the way and let free markets work. America's K through 12 public education system, which has virtually no freedom of choice, consistently scores in the middle of the pack internationally. Yet our higher education system, where consumers can choose the college where they want to attend, is universally rated as the best in the world. So, it's a great example of it. Free markets allow things to work. It's huge. So just to recap, one more time, the 10 reasons why free markets are awesome. Median income, that means average household income, really is increasing. Free trade saves us trillions of dollars. Free markets know what we want. Innovators are rewarded and consumers benefit. Failed businesses are punished and economic growth accelerates. Free markets match buyers and sellers. Competition keeps prices low. Price signaling works. Freedom. And free markets make things work. So, again, all of this came from the book today, 13 and a half reasons why not to be a liberal. I know, it's an off-putting title, but it makes good cases. So, I hope that helps. Hope you guys found this video educational. Comment below what you learned from today. And if you guys got any feedback on how I can make these videos better, I'm always down. So, see you in the next one.